Can you talk about what a starter pack of technology looks like to get started? So one of the things that's been really interesting in the last 20 years is they talk about the democratization of filmmaking. And so I have a friend of mine, he's about 5 or maybe 10 years younger than me. So he went to film school in the late 90s, and I went to film school about 10 or maybe 12 years after him in like 2010. And when he went to film school, they shot on film and they processed film and they edited film and they did all of that. They did some digital stuff, but I think he said it was only photography. So he learned how to use film cameras. You have to buy reels of film, all that stuff. It's very expensive. You have to go to labs and do the processing, but there's a lot of structure there and there's a lot of skill there because you have to make definitive choices. So it's super valuable. However, nobody really does it anymore. When I went to film school, as I said, like 10 years later, I've never used film in my life ever for anything. We only shot digitally. And so again, the good bad thing is iPhones are such good quality now that if you know what you're doing, you know how to frame things and you understand editing and shot choices and story making and directing, you can make a really good film on your camera with nothing else. The problem is, because everybody's doing that, is now you have to wade through tons of horrible things because everyone thinks, oh, I have a phone that has a camera on it, so I'm a filmmaker. Well, maybe, but again, just because, and we talked about this in film school a lot, is just because you have an opportunity to make a film about your cat doesn't mean I have to sit through it. So it's still really important to learn those fundamental things of like, what makes a good story? How do you direct the actors? How do you use the camera to show an engaging story that I can't look away from? So that's much more important than the technology. And you'll see, especially in a lot of like low budget horror films, they don't have the special effects. So, and that's why they always say like, you don't want to show the monster. Well, the reason you don't show the monster is showing the monster is really expensive. You need a lot of special effects. You need a lot of makeup. You need a lot of post-production. You need a lot of digital stuff. If you just have something in the dark, you put some sound effects in there, and all of a sudden it's terrifying, but you're not really seeing anything. So it's much cheaper to do that. Or the same with fight scenes. If you have someone who's like punching off screen, there might not actually be anybody there, but it really looks convincing, like they're hitting somebody in the face. And that's so much cheaper than having this big fight scene with like somebody's face having to get pummeled via makeup and effects. And again, you don't need any technology to do that. You just need to make smart choices.